I love to ask people a number of questions when they join my program. What are you struggling with? What does success look like at the end of this program? What's your name? What's your Instagram handle? Do you have an email list? Can you share your website with me? I like to do a little deep dive into every person that joins my program ahead of time. I like to have that starting relationship, even though I haven't probably met them yet, but honestly, 50% of the people that join my live programs, I have met them, whether it's in a previous program or in my current membership, which I kind of love. Welcome to the Creative Bodega, a podcast about content marketing, Instagram growth, and personal branding for female service-based solopreneurs who want to grow their business without letting it take over their lives. I'm your host, Em Connors, and each week I'll share actionable tips, expert advice, and unfiltered truths to help you create engaging content, connect authentically with your audience, and turn followers into loyal customers, all without the burnout. If you're ready to simplify your content creation, navigate the ever-changing trends, and build a business that works for you while staying sane in this crazy season of life, then you're in the right place. Hello. I am back with another behind the scenes look at what goes into a launch for me. So this is all in reference to live launching live programs. So this is not, I'm sure there's a lot of things you could apply to like digital product type stuff that's evergreen and you sell forever, but I'm specifically talking about my live launches for live programs because I put a lot more effort into that than I do a digital product, which I'm not even really doing digital products anymore. It's like either you want my membership and you're going to come into my membership, or you want my live stuff. And I don't really have an in-between at the moment. And, maybe that's a mistake, but I just want people in my membership. All my good stuff lives there. And I know there is so much value to be had inside of there. And I want to attract people who really are ready to make a change or level up their business. And to me, a one-off little digital product, it's just not going to get the job done. It doesn't for me personally. So I don't really feel great selling them and feeling like I can deliver on that transformation. So anyways, I want to talk about the first steps in launching. So I did an episode last week all about just figuring out what I wanted to launch, figuring out the name, the structure, the pricing, the dates, what support I wanted to have, the loose structure of the actual program and what I was going to be teaching inside of it and all that good stuff. And waitlists, like building waitlists. And this week it's a little more boring, I would say, but it's the stuff that's necessary to have a smooth launch. So this is where things like your Google Drive and Flodesk and Zoom, that kind of stuff, right? So again, it's not sexy, it's not super exciting, but I do need to get all my ducks in a row before I open these doors. And for me, at this very moment, the doors open in a week and a half to my waitlisters and my Coven membership. And I need to get some things absolutely in place before that happens. I will tell you that I spent the entire weekend working on my sales page. And I'm not kidding. I will probably be tweaking my sales page and the pricing up until the moment the doors open. I have issues, I'm not going to lie, but this is one of those areas where I'm just like, should I? Shouldn't I? Is that good? Is that not good? I'm just back and forth and here and there, and it wakes me up at night and it wakes me up in the morning, and that's just where we are at the moment. But besides the sales page, wrapping that up, I am absolutely still building my waitlist every single day, and I have a Google folder. So inside my Google Drive, I have a folder called Live Programs. Inside that folder, I have one called the Canva Collective, which is my signature program. And now I have one called the Messaging Edit. And I have one called Start and Grow Your Email List, the live version of that. So I will just put the main name of the program. And then when you click into the Messaging Edit folder, I'm going to have a folder inside there called September 2025. So, I do probably plan to run this again. So I will have a folder for each of those different launches. So once you get into the September 2025 folder, you are going to see a folder called Google Forms and Spreadsheets. And then that's pretty much it for folders inside of there. Then I'll just start adding files inside of that folder. But what do I need? Number one, I need a Google Doc that is going to be called The Messaging Edit Fall 2025. And this is like my Bible. This is going to have multiple tabs inside of it. Tab 1 is just structure notes. That is me just, freestyling name ideas, just any thoughts, ideas, messaging, pricing, launch dates. It's anything that comes to my mind for this program. And then I'm going to have another tab called Important Links. And that's where we're going to talk about these forms and stuff that I need to create ahead of time. So what does that include? It's a Google form that's an initial questionnaire. So I love to ask people a number of questions when they join my program. What are you struggling with? What does success look like at the end of this program? What's your name? What's your Instagram handle? Do you have an email list? Can you share your website with me? I like to do a little deep dive into every person that joins my program ahead of time. I like to have that starting relationship, even though I haven't probably met them yet, but honestly, 50% of the people that join my live programs, I have met them, whether it's in a previous program or in my current membership, which I kind of love. So I've got that initial questionnaire. I also have an end of program questionnaire. So the second to last week of any program I run, I send out a Google form and I ask, how have you enjoyed this? What's been the best part of the program? What do you still need help with? Do you feel like your problem has been solved? All that kind of good stuff. And that's where I get a lot of really fantastic testimonials. And one of the last questions I ask is it okay if I share your responses publicly, right? And they can say no, and that's perfectly fine. But that end of program questionnaire, I will give again the second to last week, not at the very end, because people are like super checked out at that point. I'll do it the second to last week, and I will usually raffle off a prize to one person. So I'll put everyone's name in the hat the last week who did fill it out, and I'll raffle something off, whether it's like an Amazon gift card or like a free 30-minute call with me or something like that. Again, just to get people to do it. I then have an accountability partner spreadsheet. I love offering inside my programs for people to join an accountability pod. So whether that's 2 people or 3 or whatever you want, it's that extra level of accountability. You can check in with that person once a week. It's up to you too. I basically say, I'm bringing you all together. You're all really great people. Here's a spreadsheet. Add your name if you want to grab an accountability partner. What you could do with this accountability partner is you can meet once a week. You could get on Voxer together. You could go on Slack. Like however you communicate is completely up to you. It's out of my hands once you find each other. And I have found that people absolutely love this option. I loved it when I did my first live program. I'm still friends with the woman that I ended up being a partner with. And we just really held each other accountable. It was, again, just that extra layer that I tend to need inside a program. And then there's a weekly Q&A form. So we have weekly calls, and I know that everyone can't always make it. So I always want to give people an option to fill out any questions they have inside this Google form, and I will answer them live. Or it's for people who just are shy and they don't want to ask it live. They don't want to unmute, or they can't, and they have kids home, whatever. I don't care. Fill it out if you want your questions answered live. And then I usually have a call recording document where any and all document recording calls get put into. So those are the things inside Important Links. Okay. So we've got the structure notes, which is just honestly brain dumps of everything I'm thinking for the program. Important Links. This is just one place that I can go and find any important links that I know I'm going to need. Then I've got, it's called the magnet method for this program, which is just me breaking down what I want to teach weekly. And then I've got sales page notes. So anything related to the sales page is going to go in there. DM responses is a tab. So if I'm asking for feedback on people, like what's your biggest struggle with, messaging, and I'm gathering feedback, I will put all of those notes inside of the DM responses. That's gold. That's stuff I can use for my sales page. It's stuff I can use for my sales emails. It's the real voice of my real dream clients, to be honest. And then right now I have a tab called Behind the Scenes Launch Flow, and that's actually where I'm just putting what I'm doing, like what I'm doing for this launch. And that's what I'm working off of right now to record this. It's just bullet points of what I need to create in order to get up and running and launch. Okay. So that's my folder inside of my Google Drive. And then that is all the kind of random documents that I need to create. Now, the next thing I had to do this morning was create all the Zoom calls. So I go into Zoom, I create a recurring meeting for all my calls. And that means they all have the same link, which is really helpful for anybody inside my program in case they lose the link or whatever. Now, I won't invite people to that calendar Zoom call link until I have my final group. Otherwise, adding people one-off, it just takes too much time. So I tell everybody in the welcome email, I will be inviting you all to these calls the day before we get started. So be on the lookout for those calendar invites. And again, that way I can just copy and paste everybody's email address who has signed up for the program. Now, how do I get all those email addresses for everybody who has signed up? So I do create a Zap. Zap is from Zapier. It's like an if this, then that. So if someone signs up for this program on my Podia sales page, zap them onto this sales spreadsheet. What is included in that sales spreadsheet? Their first and last name, their email address, the date and time that they signed up. If they added on, like if I have a special add-on, like right now for the messaging edit, you can add on a call, like a one-on-one call with me at the end, and they will be added to that column. They'll get a check mark if they signed up for that, what they paid for the program, and let's see what else. I think that's it. So I have that sales spreadsheet open the entire time I'm launching. What am I doing? I'm just looking at who's signing up. I'm making sure I'm reaching out to the people that signed up for one-on-one calls. I actually will add a column as well for if they're in the coven and mark that off. I just like to see and track how many people sign up for my live programs that are from my membership. The only thing that Zapier is zapping over is the date and time of their purchase, their name, their email address, and what they paid. The rest are things that I have to manually track. Okay. So once I get my community up and running, I do have to manually add everybody to the community. It's just the way it works for me. So again, I'll have a column on there as well, like added to the community. So it's just my way of tracking what I've done with the people that have purchased. And it's so that nobody falls through the cracks, because that's really important to me. I don't want anyone to feel like they're missing out or they didn't get something. So that's, again, really important to me. And that just helps me figure that out. The next thing that I needed to do this morning was head into Flodesk, create a segment called Customer, the Messaging Edit, September 2025. And I created a workflow for when you purchase. So that workflow is just one email, and it's just going to say, welcome to the messaging edit, and here are your next steps. And inside that email is basically asking them to fill out that initial questionnaire so I can learn more about them, telling them all about our Zoom calls and telling them when they can expect to be invited to those Zoom calendar alerts. Let's see what else. Telling them about the community and giving them a little video on like the walkthrough or the behind the scenes, and telling them that I'll invite them to the community when our doors close and we have our 20 women or however many sign up. And that's basically it. Just saying, I'm so excited you're here. I can't wait to meet you, work with you, and learn all about your business. And then let's see here, link in bio. So I can't remember if I included this on the last episode, but I make sure that I include the wait list in my link in bio with course start dates and the week before. Well, the week the doors open or the day the doors open, I will actually change my link in bio. Instead of being my Stan Store link, I will actually just make it the sales page for the messaging edit. So for one solid week or for however many days this program's open, my link in bio will just be directing people to the sales page. And the call to action above it will be join the messaging edit, 20 spots, $500 off for the first 5 days, whatever, some type of call to action. And I'll just get rid of all what is in my link in bio right now. And that's just to make sure people know what's going on. And I really direct people that way. So for 1 week, yes, people might not be able to find my freebies, or they might not be able to find my main website, but that's okay. They'll figure it out if they really want to. And it's more important for me to get all eyeballs that I can on the messaging edit sales page before the doors close. Let's see. The other thing I had to do was set up my community inside of Podia. So I have to set up a plan inside of Podia. Then I have to set up the topics. So what I love to do is create a topic. You can think of a topic as like a thread for each week. And that way, when my students head in there, they can post their questions under the week that it correlates with. And again, this just keeps things organized for me and my co-coach. And then I also have one for just intros and random questions. I combine those two and people can introduce themselves there. I make sure that I go first once the doors open and say what I'd like to hear from everybody in their intros. And it's just a great way for everybody to get to know each other on those first couple of days. Let's see. Gosh, guys, I feel like those are the main things. One other actually big thing I want to talk about is having SOPs. So if you've never heard of an SOP, it's a standard operating procedure. My husband, Rob, got insane with SOPs when we owned our gym. He had an SOP on how to clean the bathroom. I'm literally not kidding. Like I thought it was overboard, but he was just all about it. And what that means is when you create an SOP or a standard operating procedure about every single thing you're doing to prepare for or to do whatever you're working on, it means you can hand it off to somebody. Because handing something off to somebody and just saying, hey, this is how I do it, take some notes as I'm talking, good luck. No, I need a list. I need to be able to follow step by step what I'm going to do. So I have SOPs for every single live launch that I do. And it is organized by platform or place I need to go. So like Google Drive, here's a list of the 5 things you need to do in the Google Drive when you start a program. Make a folder for the program, add the Google intake form, blah, blah, blah. Then Zoom, right? Then I have Zoom listed. Schedule your Zoom calls, right? Schedule the Zoom calls and make a call recordings doc for all the links. Flodesk, create a new segment, create a workflow. So this is all listed out right in front of me and I highlight them as I go. I know there's the Notion and the Asana people out there. I'm not one of those girls. I just am not. I'm just a Google Drive girl. I just want to see this document. I want to highlight things as I go. I want to keep this real simple and straightforward. And this is how I do it. So then these SOPs are also organized by 1 month beforehand and then 2 carts. Then 2 weeks before the cart open, then 1 week before the cart open, and then the day before the cart opens, and then after the cart closes. So I have all the things listed out that I need to do before or during these different phases before a launch. So right now we are a week and a half before the cart open and I only have 2 things listed. Make and update the graphics for social media and start drafting the launch emails. So that's what I'm going to be working on after today, where I did all that like non-sexy stuff, but the stuff that keeps my programs really flow beautifully and keeps me really organized. So I think that's what I've got today for behind the scenes when it comes to my launches. I hope this has been helpful for you. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here for you. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on the Creative Bodega podcast. If you love this episode, please be sure to share it with a fellow solopreneur who could use a little content creation inspiration. And hey, don't forget to check out the show notes for any resources I mentioned on the episode to help you create content that feels easy and actually gets you results. If you want even more Canva and content tips, head over to my website, thecreativebodega.com, or find me on Instagram under the same name. Until next time, keep creating, keep showing up, and most importantly, try and have a little fun with your content. I'll see you on the next episode.